Good morning, folks. I'm Baz here again. So, today's topic, I've been having a couple of debates lately. Well, I slipped into one the other day, and it's been kind of ongoing in the sort of forum. And it's a conversation about gun control. Topic always comes up, gun control. And the argument always used is, what's it called? School shootings. That's the reason why we need gun control. Um, I wonder if I'm starting to understand it as a sort of appeal to extremes. So how when they say the pro-choice movement, for instance, their reasons for being pro-choice are situations of SA, of incest, or complications of with the mother, appealing to the extremes because most abortions aren't because of those reasons, right? Same thing with uh, their reasoning for wanting gun control. And I said it because now I didn't fact check this statistic, but someone gave me the numbers, and like the gentleman said he was from Canada and he was comparing their amount of school shootings to ours. He said something about his. I think Canada only had some like 6, maybe 9 at most. I don't even think it was that high. Since I want to say 2002, I forget the number. And he said ours was 288. We had 288 school shootings. Now, 288 sounds like a lot, and it really is a lot. Just one is too many, right? But it doesn't represent the majority, right? That's an appeal to an extreme because 288 are 288 individuals who went out and about and did something that was really extreme. And so I think using that, pedestaling that as a reason is really unfortunate. It downplays the significance of those individuals who died and what those individuals who victimized people were going through. And I say it because what my takeaway from what usually leads to these shootings are kids who have had enough. They're picked on, they're not popular, they're made to feel like the outcast, they're shunned, they're not listened to, and then they had enough. And interestingly enough, we tell kids all the time to pick up to your bully, to stand up to your bully. And then when we do stand up to our bully, well, some of them, well, I didn't go that way, so I can't say we include myself into that because I didn't do no school shootings. But unfortunately, some people snap in those ways. I'm not condoning it at all, and I think that's one thing that people aren't understanding is people who are gun fanatics, people who are pro-gun, they're not condoning that at all. And those situations, the people who go into school shootings are not gun fanatics. They're not doing it because they're gun fanatics, because if they were gun fanatics, they wouldn't be doing it. They're doing it because they're pissed, because they have mental problems. And if you take away the tool, you'll still have the problem of someone who wants to do great harm, to lash out at classmates, individuals, people who made them suffer throughout their classes. And I always said, it's really unfortunate for those kids who, I guess, I don't want to be funny. I mean, maybe they bloom and become something greater later on. Maybe they grow up, they become more attractive later on. The caterpillar into the butterfly. But during high school, I remember there being those kids in high school who didn't have girlfriends, who looked like they weren't about to have girlfriends. And not for nothing, but me and my friends, we didn't make them feel bad for it. We never shitted on them for that. We never made fun of them or nothing. But that doesn't mean that the girls maybe didn't make fun of them, And I mean that if they made a pass at a girl, the girl wasn't gonna not just deny them, but make them really feel really bad about it. And that's part of what keeps most guys from hitting on girls. Not just the rejection, because rejection is easy. Men deal with worse than rejection, but it's the ridicule that often follows rejection that most guys are afraid of. And for those guys, because they're too afraid to even approach a girl, never had their experiences with a girl, they're missing out on something. They don't feel that feeling of touch. They never had their first kiss. And I say it. I said it in the past. Maybe it sounds joking when I say it, but I think to some degree there's some truth, because what I would say is those kids who will go, like the kid that in Florida, that, what was it, Portland or something like that, Portland, Florida, I forgot the name of it. Anyways, if any of those kids just had a girlfriend the day before, let's say the kid planned on doing the shooting 2 days later, But in the course of those days leading up to that shooting, he ended up with a girlfriend, and then for the first time he had his first kiss and whatnot, and things might happen to go a different way. I guarantee he wouldn't have gone into the school and started shooting everyone. I guarantee that would have changed things for him. Would he had she end up breaking up with him eventually? Maybe, possibly, but she could also have been part of what's helping a warning or just stopping that from happening, because at that point he gets to experience touch, he gets to experience kiss, and he realizes there is something good, there is something to cherish from it. And if he does this horrible crime, he's only going to be sent to prison for it, if not killed, right? So if you take away the weapon, you take away the tool, you still have the problem. You still have the individual who's angry, who wants to lash out. And the thing is, they'll find other weapons. I find it interesting when like it's a European that'll try to make us feel bad for our school shootings, when not for nothing, but up until the point of Trump coming into office back in 2016, y'all had an ISIS situation. Y'all had bus bombings and shit happening every other week or so. We couldn't go a month without hearing something happening in France or Spain or England. Y'all were constantly having them. And now, in the past, what was it? In the past year or so, y'all had stabbings. And it's just as gruesome. That's, if anything, it's more personal. You have to get really close to someone to stab them, and you could do a lot of damage. You can tear someone's guts right out and put on a hell of a scene for the people surrounding. Like, is it easier to disarm someone who has a knife versus has a gun? Maybe, but it doesn't stop. My point is, taking away the tool doesn't stop the problem from happening. And I think that's the point that people are missing. And what I find ironic is, it's usually Democratic voting people who want this to happen, right? They want there to be stricter gun laws or take away guns altogether, and they're saying that this is what their democracy is, right? But what they don't realize is it's the guns that protect American democracy. We are not a democracy, but we do have democracy. We do have true democracy. If we have freedom of speech, if we have freedom of religion, if you could say what you want, as long as it's not inciting violence or a call to arms or whatever, you're threatening people, you could share your opinions on your beliefs. You could insult your governors without having to worry about persecution of any kind. That's a freedom. That's democracy. That's what democracy looks like. And the moment you take away people's rights to bear arms, you take away their right to defend their true democracy. It's a much bigger argument that people are engaging, and they don't realize it. When they're pro taking guns away and they're using the school shootings as a reason, they're engaging a bigger argument from a smaller standpoint. I'm not saying that school shootings are any little thing, because they're not. But in the grand scheme of it, 288 people is a very, 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 very tiny percentage in comparison to 330 million people. They don't represent all of America. The reason why other countries might get the idea that we're all about school shootings is because that's what our media puts out. Our media only ever puts out the worst of us, our ugly. The media doesn't put out nice things. It doesn't glorify happiness and kindness. You see you see news reports about people taking care of homeless people, or you rarely see those segments. You rarely see segments about people giving to charity or people helping kids that have cancer or whatever. Like, we don't promote that. We don't sensationalize that. We sensationalize the bad shit. So they take clips like that, and they think that represents all of America. Similar with George Floyd. I'm not gonna get into the George Floyd situation, but situations like that where you have cops killing people, it's a horrible situation. But those are very small numbers that end up representing. People confuse it to represent all police officers because the media pushes it out as such. Now every cop is an asshole, and every cop is a murderer trying to kill black people. It's but because it's what's put on the media, it makes people think, oh yes, it must be all that. You just take that and run with it and associate it to everyone. It's unfair. I don't own any weapons. I probably should, but I don't. But I don't agree with telling someone they don't have the right to carry. If you have true and honest intentions, you're not a person that's maybe usually medicated, or you may have, schizophrenia, or you may have some mental illnesses. And what's unfortunate is, because of what's been happening to our kids lately, it's like you pretty much, well, the Democrats pretty much, you sanctioned a whole generation of kids to not be able to have guns, because legally so, I mean, when you go for a permit for a firearm, depending on what state you live in, if you have mental illnesses, you can't, you'll be disqualified. You can't get a firearm. And so these people who are saying they're transgender, they have dysphoria. That's a mental disorder. Who's to say that they shouldn't own a firearm because they have a mental disorder? I might be saying something that might stir a pot that might piss people off, but it's the truth. It's the truth. You can't, in the state of New Jersey, in the state of New York, and in certain states, you can't, if you have a medical marijuana card, you can't get a firearm. Like, that disqualifies you as well. So there are things put in place to stop people. I always feel like I'm having conversations with people who don't know enough about the topic. I don't consider myself an expert in anything I talk about, but I do know enough to carry myself in a conversation about things, and debate from standpoints, and offer points and reasons to them. And I feel like the people who I'm constantly engaging with are people who don't really know it all, and they don't know anything, for that matter. They make assumptions off of what the media gives them. I don't know. Maybe I'm being judgmental. I'm usually never disrespectful. I don't cuss. I don't get belligerent when I debate people. I don't like calling names and making insults. When insults come my way, I usually try to deflect them, and as a way to say this is not necessary. You're not going to convince me with insults, and then I just move on to the point. Like, I don't hit back because you hit me. I address it, brush it, or dismiss it, and then get back to the point of what I'm talking about. And that's my debate style, if anything. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about for now. Was that the whole school shootings, the gun control policies. I truly think, when it comes to school shootings, taking away the guns is not going to stop the school shootings. It's not going to stop the problems, because we have kids who are figuring out how to make homemade explosives and shit. They could get knives, kitchen knives. There are websites for swords and shit. And what may come across looking like a toy, because it looks like a sword from an anime like Bleach or Naruto or some shit, ends up being a real sword that's full tang and can be sharpened and used as a weapon. You can do a lot of damage with a sword. There was or a machete, for that matter. There was a issue in Union City back when I was a teenager. It was like 16. I don't know all the people who were involved with it. All I know is a couple of kids got their faces chopped up by someone with a machete, and one of them, their body was just left in the street with the machete still in their chest, or a katana or something like that. It was a long blade that they used. One kid got their nose chopped off, got their tongue chopped off. It was a mess. I don't know too many details about it. It's old news. It happened around another high school, which I was not part of, so I don't know too much about it. But my point is that there's other methods. That wasn't that what happened there wasn't a school shooting situation. That was a gang situation. It had nothing to do with bullies and all that. That was something completely different. But with the school shootings, it's kids who are bullied, who are picked on, kids who are made to feel like they're outcasts, kids who they're not understanding consequence, and they're okay with doing bad things if it means it gets some attention, some kind of attention, any kind of attention. And usually that's why they do those things, because they're crying out for attention, right? If you want to save the kids, save the kids. That's how you do it. Taking the guns away from the parents who had a right to own them? No. Do I think the parents should have been more responsible about their ownership? Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Maybe not let their kid know that the firearm exists in the house. Maybe not let their kid have stuff like that of their own. Yes, so there's responsibility to be had, I think, in the parents as well. But help these kids before they get there. You know, that's all. Y'all so liberal, y'all so progressive and open-minded and compassionate and all that. Show some compassion to those kids and stop them before they explode. Sounds fair? I think so. I'm gonna stop for now. I think I'm running low on storage. I'm gonna have to start erasing videos to make some more videos. So, I'll probably make another one tomorrow or later on today. Who knows? You have a good one. Be well.